Hello, chemistry students. So we are going to be taking a look at orbital diagrams today, and an orbital diagram is this guy right here. That is an orbital diagram. So we are going to be filling in orbital diagrams for each of the elements that we have listed there. And so one of the things that you will need to make sure you have out is you have a periodic table. If you do look at the periodic table, you will see that hydrogen on the periodic table looks just like this. This is hydrogen on the periodic table. What we're going to be focused on today is we're going to be focused on the atomic number, this number at the top. That tells us that hydrogen, and when it's neutral, it has 1 electron. That's an important thing. Okay, then what we're going to do, and that's actually the answer to number 1 right there, 1 electron in hydrogen. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fill in this orbital diagram, and here's a couple things that you need to know. So I'm going to look at the reminder up at the top here, and the reminder says this. First off, we're going to fill the lowest energy orbitals first. You can see right here that this arrow is pointing upwards, so the further you are down, the lower your energy is. So we would say that the 1s is the lowest energy, and in this orbital diagram, the 4p is the highest. We're always going to fill up the lowest energy level first. Other rules. Electrons that are placed in the same orbital, remember from the other day, an orbital is a square. That's how we show orbitals. When we place electrons in that same orbital, they must have opposite spins, and we can only place 2 maximum in each orbital. So for example, if I was going to place 2 electrons in there, I'd put an up arrow and a down arrow. That would represent 2 electrons in that orbital. We also have to make sure we completely fill the lower energy orbitals before we move to the next highest energy orbital. Have to be completely filled. We cannot have any partially filled orbitals with just like 1 electron in it and then go on to a higher energy level. And then orbitals with equal energy. These are the p orbitals. P orbitals right here, a good example, they all have equal energy. So if we are going to fill them, we have to make sure we fill them with 1 electron each before we move on to pairing them up. Okay, so now that we've said some of these rules, let's go ahead and fill in hydrogen here. Hydrogen has 1 electron, so we only have 1 arrow. We're going to start with the lowest orbital, which the lowest orbital is the 1s, and we're going to put an up arrow in there, and we've now kind of zoom this in a little bit, and we're done. That's it. That is the electron that is the orbital diagram for hydrogen. Just 1, and what this reads as is hydrogen has 1 electron in its 1s orbital. Easy as that. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one. I want to jump over to another one. I'm going to jump over to number 4 and give you an example of how number 4 works. Now, again, you'll need your periodic table out for this one. So, but if you do have your periodic table out, you'll notice that sodium on the periodic table looks just like this. Sodium symbol is Na. Sodium's atomic number is 11. And we're not going to worry about sodium's average atomic mass right now. We're just going to worry about its atomic number, which tells us that it has 11 electrons in a neutral atom sodium. So that is going to be 11. That's going to be the number of electrons we're going to place into this orbital diagram. Now, we have to remember the rules of filling these electrons into this orbital diagram. One rule is we always have to start at the lowest and fill it up. And so I'm going to go ahead and start at the lowest here. I'm going to put 1 electron pointing up and 1 electron pointing down, just like that. I've now used up 2 of the electrons. I have 9 more to go to get to 11. I'm going to go to the next greatest energy level. That's going to be my 2s energy level right there. And we're going to put 1 going up and 1 going down. We've used up 4 electrons now. We need to get to 11. Now, watch what happens when we get to the p orbital. Remember that all of these p orbitals are equal energy. Oops. These are all equal energy. What that means is when you place electrons in these equal energy orbitals, you have to place them all in 1 at a time until you have everybody has 1 before you can start pairing. This is what I do. I put 1 in, I put 1 in, and I put 1 in. just like that. One in each box, one in each 2p orbital. Now, I've used up, so far, I've used up, let's see, we've got 2, we've got 4, we've got 5, 6, 7. I want to get to 11, so I'm going to go ahead and add in my, now I'm going to start pairing. Point down, and point down, just like that. I always start with putting my arrows up, and then I go to pointing them down. So now, once again, I have 2, I have 4, I have 6, I have 8, I have 10 electrons filled in, but I want to get to 11. I want to get to 11, so let's go ahead and place one more in the next highest energy level, which is going to be the 3s, and I'm going to go ahead and place one electron in there just like that, and now I'm finished. And so we would say that sodium has completely filled 1s orbitals, 2s orbitals, 2p orbitals, and a single electron in the 3s, because now we've used up 11 electrons, and that's all the electrons that sodium has. And so we are now finished with sodium. And so that is how we fill orbital diagrams. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to do the rest of page 1, which is going to be potassium and lithium. You're going to go on to page 2, and we've got a whole bunch of them here for you: beryllium, oxygen, magnesium, fluorine, and so on and so forth. Over on page 3, I'm going to ask you just to label. I've left off right here on question number 13. I've left off these orbitals. You just need to fill in what's there. Okay. 14 just has some questions about orbital diagrams. On question number 15 here, all you need to do is identify the following atoms. So based on this orbital diagram and based on the number of electrons, remember one arrow equals one electron. Tell me who this atom is, assuming that it is a neutral atom. There's another one down here. And then the last thing you're going to do on this set of practice problems is you're going to go to page 4. And don't forget about these guys on the back. It's going to say, draw your own orbital diagrams and fill in the correct number of electrons in the correct orbitals. Now, so what you can do for these guys is you can just copy the orbital diagrams from the previous pages. I mean, you might want to copy something down. You know, you have your 1s orbital just like this, and then you have your 2s orbital just like that, and then you're going to have your 2p orbitals, and remember there's 3 of those guys like that, and then you have your 3s orbital just like that, and then you have your 3p orbital just like that. Yeah, and you kind of get the thing. I just copied that down, and now you're going to fill that in for each of the following: helium, argon, chlorine, silicon, boron, and calcium. Draw a little orbital diagram for each one of those. Okay? Hopefully you're good, and if you have any questions, you can always email me, and I'll try to get back to you during the same period, but I can't guarantee it.